I remember very well when I moved to Bombay and when I used to go back home, my family used to ask me, how is this person? How is that person? How is this person? I'm like, they're as normal as all of us. They love to talk about food. They love to talk about, health. They love to talk about friends. They love to talk about family. But I think what really is different is discipline. The secret of why I'm surrounded by these amazing women and not intimidated, don't feel insecure.
Semen retention, that is just been overdone. Like your entire, all your podcasts are just, but I want to talk more about the things that I saw when I first met you.
I'm very open as an individual. Like I speak my mind out, I speak my heart out. I am very, animated in character and all of that stuff. Sarvesh, if you have to have one line that you would put your entire life in with relationships, that one line to me is kindness is the new sexy.
I've seen a lot of men get intimidated around stronger women or women who are outspoken.
I'm very secure as an individual and it's come with a lot of work. Rome wasn't built in a day. I was very arrogant as a child. My anger levels were very high and I also think insecurity was also high and all of that. So today, after a lot of work on me, Prince of Udaipur, which is Laksharaj Singh Mewar, a bunch of my friends who I learn continuously from, I have a very dear family friend called Srishant, who is an ex-Indian cricketer, learned a lot from him and many other people as well. I think their lives, what they've told me, just observing their lives and learning from them and my self-practice of meditation, sadhanas that I've done, all of it has now made me very secure. Second is I think I respect all of these wonderful women around me.
You've spoken about, learning from your mistakes and not repeating the mistakes. So you're talking like a true founder.
People never believed that yoga in India can become a business.
Right.
A commercially viable business.
Some people look at yoga in a very religious
way.
So
we are in our 10th year. I started this when I was 21 in 2013. We had 92 locations in 32 cities in India and 2 countries. And then 2020 pandemic happened and we shut 91. We went from 92 locations to 1. We went from 400 employees to 40. You can take the CEO out of me, but you can never take the yogi out of me, right? I am a yogi. My Shield Palen, that's how I call it, is a base to everything I do in life.
A lot of women struggle with having an open heart. It is a bit more difficult for women to be free in general. So I feel this whole semen retention, that is just been overdone. Like your entire, all your podcasts are just, but I want to talk more about the things that I saw when I first met you. I feel you're such an energy of healthy masculine. There's so much love coming out and I feel that there's a lot of toxic masculinity around, What are your thoughts? How do you feel? Because, a lot of women speak like this, that all men are the same.
Firstly, thank you for having me, but I'll tell you my version of what I would believe in, right? And I fundamentally believe in 2 things and both of them happen to be quotes in life generally itself. And that portrays entirely. So the first one is, as long as you're breathing, don't worry. Yeah. And what that helps people in is, you take things as it comes. For you, happiness is pretty much on the similar lines. Anything goes wrong, it's similar, on the similar lines. You know that this will also change. And as long as you're breathing, one shouldn't worry. And that's what I keep telling my friends, family members, people I know, I don't know in things like these as well. The second one is the most important. And I think that's where a lot of people can actually understand what this genuinely means and then try and have it in their daily life as well, which is love like there is no tomorrow. I repeat, love like there is no tomorrow. And if tomorrow comes, love again. Which means you then start taking everything, everybody, whether it's living, non-living, things that you have, you don't have, all of it will pretty much be in a space of gratitude for you. You will be grateful for everything that you have in life. You will be grateful for everyone that you have in life. And you will be grateful for just living, which is a extension of what I said as the first quote. And I think that automatically comes in everything that I do. Or rather, I do my best for it to come out. Let me put it that way. And everybody keep telling me, Sarvesh, if you have to have one line that you would put your entire life in with relationships, that one line to me is kindness is the new sexy. So, yeah.
Kindness is the new sexy. But I want to know, you're always surrounded by, very strong, self-made women with very strong personalities. And I know ideally it's a very normal thing. Whether man or woman, anyone can have a strong personality. But I've seen a lot of men get intimidated around stronger women or women who are outspoken, women who speak their minds. Do you feel that way?
No, actually, I don't feel that way fundamentally because of two reasons, and in order. So, reason number one, I'm very secure as an individual, and it's come with a lot of work. Rome wasn't built in a day. Things, the first step to win a 100-meter race is actually to take that first step.
You keep talking about your life pre-17, post-17.
And post-17 as well, right? So I think I've come a long way. I was very arrogant as a child. My anger levels were very high, and I also think insecurity was also high and all of that. So today, after a lot of work on me, thanks to a lot of people in my life, starting from my parents, my gurus, people like, the Prince of Udaipur, which is Laksharat Singh Mewar, bunch of my friends who I learn continuously from. I have a very dear family friend called Sri Shant, who is an ex-Indian cricketer. Learned a lot from him, and many other people as well. I think their lives, what they've told me, just observing their lives and learning from them, and my self-practice of meditation, sadhanas that I've done, all of it has now made me very secure. So I think one is secure, that I'm very secure internally. Second is I think I respect all of these wonderful women around me for whatever they've done in life, they're continuing to do in life. They keep telling me that women are a zillion times more stronger than men mentally. They're a lot, because they are the source of fire. They are the people who end up moving mountains, right?
Like,
and they are the creators.
Lives.
They are also, they are the creators, they create lives. And of course, they don't do it alone. They do it with a masculine energy that it has to come together.
Yes.
And I think the second one would be respect. I think if you're able to respect women for what they've done and genuinely be appreciative of it, I think these two are probably the secret of why I'm surrounded by these amazing women and not intimidated, don't feel insecure, but be happy about what they are going through in life. And if they have any concerns, etc., be as helpful as you can. I'd sum up my reason of being non-intimidated in any group, whether it's women, men, whatever, because I have had the good fortune to meet some amazing people in my life in different walks, whether it's entrepreneurship, sports, movies, Hollywood, Bollywood, down south, Tollywood, and so on. But I think all of them are humans. I don't see that anybody is different because I remember very well when I moved to Bombay and when I used to go back home, my family used to ask me, how is this person? How is that person? How is this person? I'm like, they're as normal as all of us. They love to talk about food. They love to talk about, health. They love to talk about friends. They love to talk about family. But I think what really is different is discipline. I think the difference between good and great would be patience and discipline.
Okay.
And how consistent you are, right? Discipline is equal to consistency.
Right.
So how consistent you are with what you do to achieve what you want to achieve. I think that's a few things there that I continue to learn from these amazing people. So yeah.
I think there's one more aspect to this same question. Like, I feel a lot of women feel very safe and secure around you. I feel that there's no feeling of objectification, which is the problem, right? I mean, and I feel a lot of people do it subconsciously. I don't think they even realize that they're probably looking at a woman like that. But
I mean, I'm glad you feel that people think that way. I also hope they do. And but the important part is I ask: is this okay? Is this not okay? Because
Consent.
I'm very open as an individual. Like, I speak my mind out. I speak my heart out. I am very, animated in character and all of that stuff. So I think it boils down to that second thing that I said of respect, right? Whoever they are, you don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what they've done to be where they are. So you are nobody in this world to judge anybody. It's that old proverb that when you point one finger at somebody, you need to remember that 4 fingers are pointing towards you. So you live your life, be nice, be kind. It's something that we as a yoga space keep ending the class with, right? We say, we ask people to rub their palms, join their palms in namaste position. We ask them to first keep it on their forehead, and we tell them, promise yourself to be kind with your thoughts, slide it down, keep it next to your lips, promise yourself to be kind with your words, slide it down, keep it next to your chest, your heart, promise yourself to be kind to yourself first, and then spread this love, compassion, gratitude to this entire universe. So I think that practice of kindness, love, compassion is what we try and imbibe in. And I've done many errors. I continue to make mistakes. But the only thing that I keep telling myself is learn from them and don't repeat them again. So I think that's something that I consciously strive towards doing, is not make the same errors that I think I have made consciously. And some of them are situation based, right? Very, very situation based, and people perceive you very, very differently, and you can't help it. And lack of communication today, I believe, is probably the most biggest reason for
conflict.
Anything,
Any
kind of conflict, whether it's in a relationship, friends, work, business, family, couples, or whatever. I just think it's lack of communication and lack of expectation setting.
Right. I think you've defined, and I wanted to come to this later, but you've spoken about, learning from your mistakes and not repeating the mistakes. So you're talking like a true founder. I want to understand a few challenges when you were setting up Diva Yoga. What were probably...
Many things, right? I mean, just starting from number one, people never believed that yoga in India can become a business.
Right.
A commercially viable business, let me put it that way, right? A commercially viable business, because there's millions of videos available free online. There are TVs, channels who do yoga in the morning or evening or whatever time it is.
Some people look at yoga in a very religious way. So they don't
and there are a lot of myths around yoga. Yoga can help you lose weight. Yoga is only for women. Yoga is only for people above 40. You need to be flexible to do yoga. It's as equal to a saying, only if you have a six-pack you can go to a gym. Because you do yoga to become flexible. And there are many myths around it. So I think we continue to face a lot of challenges, starting from just general belief and faith. And that belief and faith, so there are 2 RTBs in the form of marketing, right? Reason to believe and reason to buy. So only if your reason to believe is strong enough, would your reason to buy also sort of take forward from there, right? You need to believe in it to actually spend money or spend any form of currency to get a product or a service in return.
Right.
So we continue to face those challenges, but I think it's a lot better today. We are in our 10th year. I started this when I was 21 in 2013, and we have gone through a tsunami of challenges. In fact, pandemic and stuff was actually a lot more easier. So if I can tell you, we've gone through a lot. But do I regret anything? My answer would be no, because I think in the last 10 years, we as an organization have learned, all of us together, the senior management, all of us together have learned so much that probably any degree wouldn't have taught us.
So when you say we've gone through a lot, I want to ask you, I want to dig a little deeper into this. Sure. You as a founder have gone through a lot, or the brand has kind of...
No, as a founder itself, whether as a founder,
I've
as a
seen
brand...
the brand has also evolved, the brand, the language, the essence.
A lot. Brand has evolved, brand has gone through a lot. People, the company, organization has gone through a lot. Team members have gone through a lot. I mean, nobody really talks about failures, right? Everybody talks about billion-dollar valuations and more. But we have failed, I don't know how many times. Like we've done a lot of amazing things, right? We've got a lot of amazing people, whether as investors, partners.
I mean, you've met the perfect people. You've been talking about Jennifer Lopez and...
Yeah, everybody only talks about all of that, right? They talk about the celebrities that we've met, the amount of money that we've raised and so on. But I think we've gone through more difficult times and all of that.
Because and for yoga enthusiasts, I think you've been an icon, like... any and every yoga enthusiast would know about you, and they follow your journey, and there's an entrepreneurial vibe to it, that...
Yeah, I think it's only consistency and grit, right? I think, just from a journey point of view, 2013 we had 1 location, 2016 we had 3, 2018 we had 40, 2019 we had 92 locations in 32 cities in India and 2 countries. And then 2020 pandemic happened and we shut 91. We went from 92 locations to 1. We went from 400 employees to 40. I keep telling this to people that you can take, the CEO out of me, but you can never take the yogi out of me, right? I am a yogi to start. I'm 31 now. I started yoga when I was 6. It's been 25 years of practice.
Yes.
So that's internally me. But people who know me, know me. People who don't know me, don't know me. Now, that's the sad part. So I know for a fact that we have done everything in our bit consciously to first safeguard the company, because only if the company is alive, everything else will be alive. Everything else is secondary, right? So we've gone through a lot of ups and downs. We've gone to raising a lot of capital significantly to when the pandemic hit, having not more than 50,000 rupees in our account. So we've gone through a lot, but I think what kept us going was belief and faith. We asked ourselves, do we think we will do this long term? Do we think we are able to make a difference in people's lives? Do we think we are sort of, doing everything honestly? And all the answers were yes. And I still very, very openly, proudly, publicly say that we as a organization did everything honestly, consciously for the improvement of the organization. However, some strategies have worked, some strategies have miserably failed. Some strategies have failed as well. But again, we take all of it with a pinch of salt.
Right.
Because now I know what one shouldn't do. So whenever I go for these talks and speeches and all of that, I tell them very openly, I don't know whether I can tell you what to do, but I can certainly tell you what you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
So I'm in a fairly decent position of telling people what one shouldn't be doing. And secondly, like I said, continue to learn from your mistakes, right? You've made a lot of errors in the past. And my Guruji has taught me one very, very important thing, that he said, if you have to choose between being dishonest and lying versus jumping out of a building and having to die, he's told me to die. So that's so imbibed in me right now, you can't change it.
So I want to come to this question, and I know you've answered this question before about, the relationship between lying and being a business person. I do feel that some principles of yoga and entrepreneurship kind of are a bit contradictory, in the sense, that when we're building a business, it is at the end of the day a business. You will make calls to which will save the business first, like you rightly said.
But you don't make dishonest calls. I mean, I at least, have I lost, because of making honest calls, have I potentially lost money? The answer is yes. because of making honest calls, have I potentially lost relationships? The answer is yes. By making honest calls, have I made unpleasant moments with people I love and admire and fond of? The answer is yes. But all of these, I'm very conscious that I was honest and I can sleep well. We continue to fight a lot of battles, and as long as I'm clear that these battles are fought with honesty and with deep integrity, I'm fine. But if I had made a dishonest call to save a relationship, if I had made a dishonest call to make some extra money, or if I would have made a dishonest call to make that unpleasant moment a little bit more pleasant, I would have won it at that moment but lost in life. So I choose to sleep well and win life. And I think, people who are meant for you will come, people who are not meant for you will go at some point, and you need to accept that, because you really can't help, you really can't satisfy every single person out there.
Yeah.
And it happens, it's a very interesting story that I've heard where, it's a story, of course.
Yeah.
Shiva, Parvati and the Nandi were all walking together.
Okay.
The three of them were walking. Somebody from front came and said, both of you all are divine gods, and
Yes.
why are you all walking? You can go and sit on the Nandi and walk. Let the
Okay.
Nandi take you everywhere.
Right.
And then they said, it actually makes sense. And they sat on the Nandi and they were walking. Second man came and said, what are you all doing? You're gods. How can two of you all sit on the Nandi, and wouldn't it be
Right.
too difficult for the Nandi to sort of
Right.
walk by and stuff? And then they said, okay, fine. And then Lord Shiva got out of the Nandi, and Parvati was sitting on the Nandi and walking. Shiva was walking with the Nandi. Third person came forward and said, telling Parvati, hey, how can you make your husband walk and you're sitting on it and coming comfortably, etc. So she was like, okay, let's switch places. And then Shiva went on top. Parvati came and sort of got out of it, and again Shiva was sitting on the Nandi and walking. Parvati was walking. Fourth person came forward and said, hey, what's happening? What, you're walking and you're making your wife walk and you're sitting on the Nandi. So then they all got out before the next person came, said, listen, we can't satisfy everybody. Somebody will have to be disappointed, but as long as we are clear of our consciousness
Right.
and what we are doing,
Right.
we're in a good space. So
Right.
that's what I think I did. Now, I don't know whether it's contradicting or not contradicting. A lot of people have asked me this question, how can you not lie and do business? I can proudly say that we've done that for 10 years. I've done that for 10 years.
Right.
Its core values are always from the self. You hire basis on core values and stuff. And again, we've done
Right.
many errors. Yeah, we've hired not the right fit people. We've done a lot of errors. I mean, I can write a book on all the errors we've made. So, but yeah, someday that'll come out. Hopefully, it'll help.
Yeah. And we'll be waiting for it, because it's very interesting that the first time we heard about a yogipreneur, that concept was so new in India, and you started at a time where even the startup culture was so new. I don't think most people knew what a startup was. And how did you go about raising money at a time where the whole concept of a startup was so, it wasn't heard of till, I think.
Yeah, I think so. 2013, December 1st was my first studio in Chennai.
Okay.
I started the studio for a reason of not wanting to get into my dad's business. So I started the studio when I was 21 in 2013. 2014, our second studio started. 2015, our third studio started. Then there's a very, very dear friend. I treat him like an elder brother. His name is Vignesh. He saw there was great potential in this whole opportunity, because there was a really big white space in India for yoga, a commercial yoga setup, to build multiple studios and sort of take it forward from there. So then we discussed and we said, you know what, this is what we should probably do, and figure out raising capital to get to X number of studios and all of that stuff. So 2016 March is when we actually properly became a company. We raised capital then, and then we started building studios across the country. And 2018 April is when we actually went into our second round of fundraise, which is called a friends and family round. The friends and family round was extended for a longer period of time than expected. We raised a lot more money than expected. And then 2019 August we had a small thing that went about, and then 2019 December we raised our next round of capital, which was to build a lot more studios in the country, build a D2C brand from services to go into products and all of that. 2020, of course, all of us are aware, pandemic hit. Everything went for a toss.
Right.
And then 2020, August, September, we raised our next round from a digital point of view to build a digital business together. To sort of start off and build the digital business. But again, that went through a complete journey
Its
itself,
own phase,
phase, and again, a lot of learnings, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and so on. And then now we're back to
Right.
brick and mortar as a business.
Yeah.
I think we are building it slowly and steadily, like I said, without making the errors that we thought we committed in the past 10 years.
No, it sounds like all your foundation is set, and you're.
I don't know whether it's set, but we're setting it, is what I would say.
I think at least as founders, your foundation, I feel even as a founder, it's really important to have the right principles in your mind when you go ahead building a company.
I think, that way, I probably say I'm a lot more aware and conscious today than most founders are. Because of what I've gone through.
Right.
Like today, somebody who's gone through a lot more than me can tell me what to do. Similarly, I can definitely be in a position to tell a few others on what they should do, what they shouldn't be doing, etc. Like I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he was telling me about him raising a Series A.
Okay.
So I was in a good position to tell him what all I didn't do during a Series A round that I think he should potentially do it, and I gave him 2-3 pointers. This is what happened to me, and this is how it panned out. It may or may not happen to you the same way, but life is too short to learn from your own mistakes.
So I want to know, and when I first spoke with you, I remember I always used to feel that we need an Ivy League MBA, to raise, and you've raised, like you've built a $1 million business at the end of the day, and
yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know, right? I think I'm nobody to comment on any form of education because I have not done any. I'm 12th pass.
It blew my mind to hear that, and you've broken like many.
Well, I don't know whether broken is the right word, but I've been fortunate to have been recognized by people for what we have done in the health and wellness space, having yoga as our foundation. I think that's how I'd probably put it. So after my 12th, I wrote my college exam paper 6 times, and I failed all 6 times. The paper that I had to sort of clear and arrears, and the 6th time I wrote in the college paper saying, please pass me, I'll make the college proud. That exam also I failed, which was a different issue. But then when I sort of got recognized by a very popular Asia-wide sort of space, I got a Best Alumni Award from the college. But again, because of my ethics and what I believe, I didn't go and collect it. I'm like,
which
why?
Precept is this?
Just being, I don't know whether you can call it a precept, but it's more like...
What is the ethic?
I don't lie, right? And I didn't complete college, so how do you call me your alumni?
Alumni. Oh.
So I didn't go and collect it.
Wow.
I said, I'm out of this. So again, I think every small thing that I do want to do, I see this as a base for me. My Shield Palen, that's how I call it, is a base to everything I do in life. Some people like it, some people don't, and I'm okay.
Being an entrepreneur, how do you manage the 5 precepts, one of which is no alcohol, I know that you're... Because I feel networking, socializing, meeting people is a very important part of the job. And alcohol is at the end of the day a socializing drink.
Yeah, I think, no intoxication is how the precept is called, which is no alcohol, no smoking and no meat. I've never touched alcohol, never touched a cigarette. I was a pure non-vegetarian till I was 18.
Yes.
I'm a Mallu boy, and from there I turned vegetarian. I don't even eat eggs. It's been 13 years.
Okay.
Well, people do ask me that how do you survive without alcohol in a party? How do you survive without alcohol in a socializing setup?
I would ask, how do you manage? I feel people get offended, or they do that. Oh my God, you're not drinking, and
no, I mean, yeah, I don't know whether they get offended, but they feel a little weird. Not all. Some, I have been in situations where others have felt weird, but I'm easy, I'm okay. But like I said, I have party till 10 a.m. next morning, just dancing my life out without anything at all. That's because I enjoy music and I love music. In setups which is a lot more professional networking, I'm very happy with my glass of coconut water, watermelon juice, cold coffee, sugarcane juice and whatnot, and I've had all of it and I'm happy. Like, people end up asking, but I don't have a diplomatic or a legally humorous or whatever answer to them to give, because I'm like, I just don't drink. So, and are you telling me that you're going to network with me only if I have a glass of alcoholic drink in my hand? If the answer is no, great. If the answer is yes, I'm not the person you need to be networking with.
fair enough. But have you really said that?
In fewer words, yes. I'm like, if you think our conversation can only happen because you're feeling uncomfortable because I don't have a glass of whatever wine or whatever in my hand, I don't do it. So people have looked at me weirdly, but I'm okay.
I know your story where, your Guruji shared with you that these are the 5 precepts to life, and, you chose to follow them and you made a choice and you stuck to it. I really want the viewers to gain something from this, because all of us are not able to make wise choices always, and even if we do, many of us are not able to stick to them. It is something which is unique that you've done. So
yeah, so like I said, right, my story, it's out there, and it's out there quite a bit, which is, I describe my life into 2 parts. One is a life before 17 and the other is a life after 17.
Yeah.
Before 17 with the 4 A's, which is arrogance, attitude, anger and anxiety.
Right.
I was a very, very anxious child. I used to be on nebulizers once in a few weeks.
Okay.
It used to be that bad. But as a 6-year-old child, wanted to play cricket for India and win the World Cup. Started playing cricket at 6, started doing yoga also at 6. Till 17, I did typically what other people thought yoga was, which is only Surya Namaskar and meditation. So I used to do it, and I always had a bait for doing this, right? The bait was what? Cricket. So my parents said, if you do yoga well, you'll play cricket better. If you do pranayama well, you'll get better at cricket. If you do this well, you'll get better at cricket. So everybody always will have a bait, or will have a fundamental core reason that they want to do something in life, achieve something in life or whatever. And I can almost guarantee you that you can use yoga as a catalyst to say that ye better hoga. Achieve hoga ki nahi, there's a lot more around it.
Right.
Like, just by doing yoga and not practicing, I won't play cricket, right?
Right.
I need to practice also well. I need to do my training well. It's a holistic approach. So yoga was one of the baits that, one of the things that my parents said, you'll get better at cricket if you do this. So at 17, my dad took up this yoga class from this guy who I call Guruji, who came from Haridwar, and said that, you know what, I've paid a lot of money now, I can't complete the classes, why don't you just get done?
Right.
So I went to this man, had long hair, long beard, orange clothes. I thought he's going to be another godman asking me to fall at his feet. But to my surprise, when I asked him something, he said, if you ever think I can do that for you, you are a fool and I'm a bigger fool.
Right.
He said that to me, and I was like, wow, this guy's being honest, I really like him. So I started my journey with him, and in that first year he gave me a lot of sadhanas, which are basically disciplines in the form of 10, 11, 21 and 40 days.
Yes.
So I've done a lot of these sadhanas, and again he said, ye sab sadhana, if you do, you'll get better at cricket.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, fine. I did 10 days.
So the bait was always cricket.
I was like, okay, I'm playing well, I'm being more confident, I'm performing better and all that. So when I was 18, my teacher came and said, listen, you're doing a lot of sadhanas and you're doing it well. I think you have a great opportunity. I'm going to give you the Shield Palen. Will you do it? So I asked him, tell me more about this Shield Palen. He said, no, first tell me, will you do it? I said, yeah, of course I'll do it. He said, then the Shield Palen came into existence when I was 18. So, and what they were, first one was no intoxication, which is no alcohol, no smoking and no meat. The whole thing is no intoxication. Second one was no mental and physical stealing. Physical stealing is you physically steal stuff. Mental stealing is, oh, Medha has a nice watch, I want to have it. Jealousy, greed, etc.
Okay.
Third is non-violence through actions, thoughts and words. I don't remember the last time I killed a mosquito.
Right.
Fourth is no lying. I can't win, white lie. If I'm late because I overslept, I'm late because I overslept, not because there was traffic on the road. Fifth one was very difficult, again, was celibacy. I assumed all of this is for 40 days and I rhetorically told my teacher, 40 din ke liye kar dunga. He said, not 40 days, 7 years. So I'm like, hold on, 18 to 25, isn't that like my prime time to clearly do a couple of things, if not all? He then said that these 5 things should be the base of everybody's life. Because anybody who's going through any concern or a problem or whatever would be one of these 5 things being shaken.
Right.
And if the 5 things are strong, even if any problem or anything occurs, you can still be strong enough to handle it. So basically, what are these things? It's not like, hey, it's raining outside heavily and you are out, you will not get wet. These are all forms of umbrella that you have, which will protect you from getting drenched. Instead of that, your leg may get wet, parts of your clothes will get wet, etc. Right. In colloquial words, the damage is a lot more lesser. So of course, he said it for 7 years. I'm 31 now. It's been 13 years. I've not broken any of it that I promised him with these regards to these 5 things. And it's been fortunate. And I think whatever has happened in my life, they were all meant to happen to start off with. Secondly, if I've been even remotely happy, positive, they say energy is great, etc., is because of this discipline. Most importantly. So, and the real word is discipline, nothing else.
What's the bait now?
Now it's a way of life. No more bait, right? Because you've been doing something for so long.
Okay.
You're like, your life itself becomes a bait to say like, oh, your life is becoming better. You do this for your life to become better.
Sarvesh, I also had this question and you spoke about high energy. And I always wonder what people mean when they say high vibrational. He has a very good vibe about him, or if you practice yoga, there's a lot of good energy which you emit, or this person has a very peaceful...
it's like, when you're sitting in a room full of people, when somebody enters, right? You'll see that the room will either shrink if a person who's low, who's not in the right mood, who's negative, who's always cribbing and complaining, if he or she enters, they enter, the room also slightly shrinks.
Right.
At the same time, if you see somebody who enters with happiness, who's positive, who's grateful, who's only all love, you will see immediately that the room changes to being a lot more positive.
Right.
That's all. In simple terms, that is energy.
But I want to know spiritually also, what does it mean?
It's genuinely how, in spiritually, I would say, is your heart chakra open enough?
Right.
And do you have a lot of love for people? Is your throat chakra open enough to speak good things? Is your Agya chakra open enough to be intuitive enough to know, okay, this person is great energy and I would like to know more? Or if this person has some sort of negative energy around them, and how do I protect myself or indulge less? And not because of you don't want to be helpful, it's because you haven't really figured out your life yet. And if you've not figured out your life yet, I don't think anybody is in the position of being helpful for another person.
Absolutely. So, what's your vision for the next decade?
So I think from a vision point of view, I truly believe that alternative healthcare will become the future of healthcare. I don't know whether it will happen in a decade or 2 or 5 years or even take more time. But the real vision and the mission is to continuously work towards empowering people's lives by making it better through the power of yoga, breathwork, meditation, and beyond, and ancillary wellness services around them. It can be as simple as being grateful. It can be taking them to wellness retreats, wellness tourism, and so on. But I think the foundation of whatever I would like for us to do would be yoga, because that's something that I truly believe in, and I have personally experienced it myself. And I think everybody, when they have a personal experiences, when they end up giving back, doing something, etc. In this process, if it's going to become financially viable for us, well and good.
So, since you speak so much about yoga, about being in the wellness space and focusing around yoga, I want to know a hack to these problems.
Just start.
Blockage of the heart chakra. I feel a lot of, in my space of work, I see a lot of women, they've, the world is a bit patriarchal, and I can't say a bit. I also personally feel that the world is patriarchal. We've been patriarchal for centuries now. A lot of women struggle with having an open heart. It is a bit more difficult for women to be free in general. So what, in your mind, can yoga do to help women open their hearts?
Well, I think the fundamental thing is one needs to accept, right? If you believe that one's heart is blocked, closed, not receiving love, etc., you need to know that, okay, this is happening to me. And then the next question to that would be, why is this happening to me? Is it because of my childhood? Is it because of my parents and or relatives or whatever? Because initially, whenever you see any kind of heartbreak happens when you are really, really young. And that, if not healed correctly and fully, it spirals up, and then it becomes, you start seeing that in different parts and different points in your life. So you need to ask yourself why. Like, for instance, okay, my heart is not opening up. I'm not able to trust anybody, for example, right? You should ask yourself, oh, genuinely am I not able to trust anybody? Yes, I'm not. Why? Because you know what, when I was 7 years old, this happened. It's difficult for you to actually go back in time, but you have to go back in time and say, okay, this happened. I'm going to take that out of my system and say, okay, it happened for a reason, and then see multiple incidents and then tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to trust with cautiousness. Trust with caution is what you call it, right? You may have gone through a certain way. If you start believing that everything will happen like that, you will form a pattern, and everything will happen like that, you will be continued to be taken advantage of, your trust will be broken and so on. But you need to start trusting with caution. You need to start, whatever you think that you need to change, first you need to be self-aware as to why is it happening. Because unless you're self-aware as to why is it happening, you can never fix it. So you'll need to understand, okay, all of these are the reasons, and let me go and fix one by one as much as I can. And just, again, it comes back to that same point, right? As long as you're breathing, don't worry. I know it's not easy. If you're going to be specifically speaking about women, they have multiple roles to play in life, right? And it's not easy to play all roles collectively, collaboratively, etc. But you got to do what you got to do. And for that, self-care, self-love is absolutely critical. And you need to do everything for that. Because only if you're taking care of yourself, you can take care of anybody else. So I think the real thing that one needs to do to open their heart is to start going inward by understanding themselves.
Yes.
And of course, there are things like breathwork practices, meditation, chakra meditation, etc., which will help in opening up of the heart, of your throat, and all of that stuff too.
For the sake of this podcast, I want to know 3 yoga postures that help in heart opening.
One is the Bhujangasana, which is great, which is also called the cobra pose.
Okay.
The other one is the camel pose, which is again an amazing asana for opening up the heart, the chest completely. And third one is a little advanced, but it's great, which is called the chakrasana, right? And all these three are chest opening, heart opening postures, which is really, really helpful. Of course, one needs to know their physical ability and limitations on which of this can be done, because they need to be careful with their back, lower back, etc. But these three asanas really, really help in opening up of heart.
So this means like mentally and emotionally how someone is feeling, it kind of manifests physically as well.
By all means. Your physically, forget physically, right? Your heartbeat changes, your breath pattern changes, your length of the breath changes.
Right.
The whether your breath is cooler or warmer, that changes. The temperature of the breath changes. All of that changes depending on your emotional side. If you're angry, it's different. If you're grateful, it's different. If you're jealous, it's different. If you're lustful, it's different. If you're lying, it's different.
Right.
But you need to be aware enough to understand that it's different. It's not an easy one to, now I know what I'm doing.
Right. And it's very interesting. I went for my yoga training, for one of the trainings to Goa, and in one of the hip opening exercises, I started crying. Like while
The class.
yes.
Very common, because all the emotions, they say, lie in your hips. And if you've got bottled up emotions, and when you're doing a hip opening session, and when you're actually feeling your hip opening up, the releasing of your hips is nothing but you're releasing your emotions also outside.
Right.
And during that space and at that point, people who are sensitive end up tearing, because they know that they're letting go.
Right.
And they're letting go of something that was bottled up all this while.
Right. And to be honest, I didn't even know what I was letting go of, but it felt like a release.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I felt lighter after session.
Yeah, you feel a lot more lighter, absolutely. Hip openings are the best. It's recommended for everybody.
Right. Sarvesh, I really feel like doing the rapid fire.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, why did you agree to do this podcast?
You?
Marriage is?
Complicated.
You've said in all your podcasts that you want to get married. I mean, I've heard every podcaster ask you this question. Sarvesh, do you want to get married? Would you like to get married?
I never say never.
Friendship is?
Divine.
Your biggest inspiration who isn't yet a part of your life?
I don't think he's directly a part of my life, but indirectly, I would say there is some connection, would be Rajnikant.
Your fondest memory?
Everything that happened in my boarding school. I was in a boarding school for 2 years,
Okay.
6th and 7th. I think that 2 years of my life are very close to my heart.
Okay. One of the most creative experiments that you've done in your life? See, even with yourself, you told me that you source the cloth for your kurtas and then everything is stitched. I mean, I was quite surprised hearing like everything is so specific and so well thought.
Yeah, I think I'd call that a very creative experiment, but I think a creative experiment, I mean, all my adventure travels are different forms of creative experiments for me. I've jumped from the highest point in the world. I'm a licensed water scooter instructor from Miami.
Noted.
And I've done skydiving. I'm a water baby, and I also love height. So I think everything I do in that regard are different kinds of creative experiments for me.
Okay. The biggest prank that you've played on your friends?
Biggest prank that I've played on my
You
friends.
seem like a prankster.
Yeah, I've done multiple pranks. I don't know whether all of them can be told publicly, but certainly quite a lot of them, which I don't think I'm necessarily proud of. But I think as children, while in the boarding school, me and 3 of my friends, 4 of us were a group. We've done a lot of pranks with different people. Like, we've done things with itching powder, magic inks, some really weird
Itching
and funny
powder.
stuff. Yeah.
Describe Sarvesh at home in one sentence.
Not at home pretty much most times.
The perfect woman is this getting the maximum.
Secure.
The perfect man is
Honest.
non-existent.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
I'm just kidding. But no, thank you so much for doing this podcast.
No, lovely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for giving me your time.
Pleasure is always mine.